Are you a businesswoman who is finding it challenging to get your ideas across and make a point? Welcome to Speakers Who Get Results with Elizabeth Bachman, a podcast dedicated to helping women get the visibility they want, whether making a speech or talking in a meeting. Every week, get valuable lessons from Elizabeth or learn from her roundtable conversations with experts and speakers on how to make a difference, not just a point. On to the show with your host, Elizabeth Bachman.
Hello and welcome to Speakers Who Get Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host, and this is the podcast where we talk about diversity, leadership, presentation skills, and what it means to be a woman in the 21st century. Before I get on to my very interesting guest today, let me invite you how your presentation skills are doing by taking our free 4-minute assessment at speakforresultsquiz.com. That's www.speakforresultsquiz.com. And that's where you can see where your presentation skills are strong and helping you, and where perhaps a little bit of support could help you get the results you need and the recognition that you deserve. My guest today is Alice Tang, who is she's a community leader, she's an advisor, she's a financial advisor, and has built a strong network of women in her hometown of Portland, Oregon, which is also my hometown. So I'm happy to interview her. The official bio is: when it comes to building networks, many believe that you need to know a lot of people or spend a lot of time networking. Alice Tang, who's a vice president and partner at an Oregon wealth management firm, is a top female producer in the financial industry and a sought-after speaker. She's built her business and success by focusing on creating and deepening relationships one connection at a time. She originated from humble beginnings in Hong Kong, and Alice quickly realized that relationships are the key to success as she watched her father build his business. As the first of her family to earn a college degree, Alice graduated from the University of London, where she met her husband. She then immigrated to the US without a network, family, or community, and started a career in financial advising. After years of following the tried and true advice for networking and building a business, Alice realized that this was not scalable because there are only so many hours in the day. So she set out to create a system that is not only scalable, but also has exponentially grown her network, business, and success ever since. As an advocate for female professionals and helping the next generation succeed, Alice has unveiled her process to the world and now helps professionals catapult their success and that of their networks through her no-nonsense practical approach to building connections. Had a very interesting conversation with Alice Tang. I know you'll enjoy it. Alice Tang, welcome to Speakers Who Get Results.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Happy to
Well,
be here.
I'm delighted to have you here. We met just recently, but you were highly recommended. And the minute we talked, I went, oh yeah, absolutely. It's somebody I want to interview. Before I get into my questions for you, let me ask you the question I ask everybody, which is, if you were to interview someone who is no longer with us, someone from history, who would it be? What would you ask them? And who should be listening?
I love to interview Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Okay. A rabbi from Jerusalem, right? Why would you do that?
First of all, because of my faith. Second is because through my faith and my journey of learning myself, I learned about him. And most importantly is love and forgiveness.
Okay.
Think in life later on, we're going to touch upon any relationship that we have. It's not all the time awesome. is not all the time challenges. You and I are in good marriages. I assume. I know
Yes,
you
I'm
were
in a very
there.
good marriage. Thank you. Thank
um,
God. Yeah.
yes, thank you, God. But when I look back to my marriage, it's not every day that it's happy, happy, just like the day you said yes many
Mhm.
years ago. There are challenges. So at that point, do we choose to do something outrageous? Walk away is one outrageous. Fight for even, right? A
Mhm.
T for a T.
Uh-huh.
Or we just choose love and forgiveness. Because sometimes in life, things cannot be resolved. You just need to accept, forgive, move on,
Mhm.
and the memory will not pass it. Sometimes it comes back after a year, after a month. I
Mhm.
have memories with a friendship that come back to haunt me every day since the broke up.
Mhm.
So one day I said to the memory, said, you served me well. Please go.
Uh-huh.
I've
Uh-huh.
moved on.
Good for you. I find I remember a great phrase I read once about someone who not only carried a grudge, but carried the grudge until it was dead, and then it had it stuffed and hung up on the wall. And I thought, there was someone who never forgave and died angry, she never got past what she considered was the betrayal, and I do remember from that one saying, "That's a lesson." She couldn't get past that forgiveness, and how sad that she couldn't resolve it before she left us. So, love and forgiveness is a very important message. You were talking about relationships. So, you
Yes,
have, of all the many wonderful things you do, you were talking about advocating for women and their success, and you have a couple of questions about that. I'm going to jump to the question about why are relationships so important in the context of women and success?
the first thing I can think of, and I always use it as my foundation, is no one goes through life by ourselves.
No one goes through life ourselves, correct.
By ourselves. So
Mhm,
you have other people around you, whether there is two more people around you. Some of us are more close to our chest. I only have two good, wonderful friends, or one friend, very
mhm,
close. Or some of us is like me, I have a community because I love people. I
mhm,
cannot hope but being curious about them. So, relationship and success. Elizabeth, let me ask you this, or let me ask the audience this. Today, you have $1 billion. You don't need to worry about money in general, depending on how you spend it, obviously, but you have no relationships. No one care about you. No one loves you. Even if you want to give your love to, nobody care about it.
mhm.
How does it make you feel?
How do you feel?
Yes, how do you
You
feel?
you feel terrible, of course. Yes,
And why terrible?
because we need relationships. We need human connection.
And why do we need human connections? It looks like I'm interviewing you, so I'm
I
going to
know.
do the answer.
Okay,
I'm going
why?
to. We need human connections because let's go back to what we talked about before. We are not supposed to live life by ourselves.
Mhm.
Having something, even remember you have a candy when you're running in the playground when you're 3 year old, you want to share.
Yeah. Mhm,
You want a shoulder to cry on. Look,
mhm,
next door girl beat me up.
mhm,
Wow. I have a cake, half of a cupcake. I
mhm,
fought for. It doesn't look beautiful, but Elizabeth, my friend, and I share a bite with you. And when we eat those, we feel
mhm.
good.
I love
That's
that.
the experience.
Okay. So this is about relationships in life. Let me go back to the question I was going to start with and then expand it to business as well, which is why are you so passionate about advocating for women and their success? So passionate that you have built a community of women to help them achieve more success.
I'm an immigrant.
Mhm.
When I came to United States, didn't have a work permit, couldn't work, no network, because immigrant, you're not supposed to bring your grandmother, your whole 9 cousins and all these good people with me. So I am by myself with my husband. And of course, when we immigrated, he went to work because it's because of work we came.
Mhm.
So I was by myself. I say very lonely. And I used to work hard and I took pride of my work. I couldn't
Mhm.
work. It started with my neighbor across the street who started inviting me over. I mean, she is a Christian, so we pray. I
Mhm.
received my first Bible
Mhm.
from her. And then my next door neighbor, when my husband was doing business trip, a lot of business trip, invited me over for dinner, simple dinner. And I learned how to play banco because there is a woman group that she put together every month. There is a little party, right? You
Mhm.
play and enjoy conversation. That was how it started.
Okay. All
That
right.
was how it started. And because of the support, I think I was able to go through the most difficult time in my life, which is being in a new country. My husband worked very hard for the family, always on the road, and I have a home that I'm grateful for. I've shelter, mortgage is being paid, but by myself. And
Mhm.
we don't even have the social media, the WhatsApp, the text messages. We're talking about 30 years ago.
Right.
Nothing. You write a letter, the pigeon pick it up
Mm.
and send to mom and dad, and maybe
Yeah.
expensive telephones, right?
Yes.
But
Right.
how much can you do? $400 a month is a lot of telephone bill back
Yes.
then.
I remember those days, and not being able to make the telephone calls and, or being stuck in a hotel room where everyone else was working and everyone else in the team was working, and I had nothing to do because they weren't ready for me yet. Awake at 3 o'clock in the morning because it was in a different continent. Yeah, and no one to talk to. I do remember those days. Relationships are important. Um, Women and their success. Talk to me about so you have AskAliceTang.com, where you advise people, especially women, to cultivate relationships and money. So this is why relationships are important. We're not designed to be alone. Why is money so important?
Money buys, my opinion, 80 to 90% of the things in our life that
Mhm.
we desire for ourselves or for, if you're a woman, for the people around you. Because we always think about people around us first.
Mhm.
What can I do for my spouse? What can I do to my children? What can I do to my cousin, my grandmother? I mean, all these things.
Mhm.
Make it happen. I recently flew to Australia to see my parents. It's not a short trip. It's not an inexpensive trip. It's not a trip that I didn't worry about. Will I contract COVID on the plane?
Mhm.
It's really packed, but it takes money to make things happen. Think about a problem in your life. If there is some indirect relationship with having a little bit more of resource, I say financial resource,
Resources.
can
Yeah,
solve that. Can
right.
solve that. And of course, there are things we can solve. Health issues.
We cannot solve everything, but, it sure helps to have resources.
Exactly. So
Yes.
I like to close this question with the following. If we have the resource, I'm talking about financial resource, money here, to solve those problems that can be solved by money. So
Mhm.
when money can fix it, it's not a problem. That can free ourselves up, both time and
Mhm.
energy, to focus on the most important things in our life. And it could
Right.
be get our health better or
Mhm.
fix a relationship that you really want to fix before
Yes.
you die.
Mhm.
But if every day you need to work 20 hours, you couldn't possibly have the energy and the time to do
Uh-huh.
those important things in our life.
Tell us about the Women's $1,000,000 Conversations. What are you trying to accomplish with this group?
What I want to do is to change the statistics or the protocol. And I know I alone cannot do it. So what
Mhm.
happened is if anyone out there is Googling how many millionaires or people who have a net worth
Mhm.
over $1 million, you will hit the same answer that I did about 18 months ago. That is about 10% of American household
Mhm.
has a net worth of more than $1 million. So let's define net worth. It's all your asset, your home
Mhm.
equity, your the money you have, whether it's retirement account or not, minus liability.
Mhm.
Money you owe. Money you own minus money you owe is your net worth. So only 10% of American households is more than $1 million of net worth. And
Mhm.
to me, that was crazy. Calling our country among a few other advanced Western country, the
Mhm.
wealthiest country in the world, to me is, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So what
Well,
I want to do is to make that 10% number like 10.5 or
okay.
11%
Mhm.
with the little bit that I do. Especially, I want women to be in charge of their money and
Mhm.
bring their household actively
Mhm.
across that line.
Yes. Yes. Uh, it's a wonderful goal to have, and so often so much money there's the richest 1% out of that 10%, the richest 1% has such a huge concentration of assets in this country. I would think that the more you can have more people part of the top 10% or 20%, the better it will be for the rest of the world, and then you turn around and you help the person who's the percent below you. That certainly is something that I know, it's not just women, but a lot of people don't do that. How do you think let me ask you, when you work with women and you work with women as a financial advisor, why do you where do you see that women sabotage themselves? Or women put walls in front of themselves?
It's not by nature, but I think the culture we grew up with. I'm not saying the American culture or I came from, the Asian culture. None of those.
Mhm,
In general, I think women take a more submissive role.
mhm,
The society expect us to mind many things and suggested us if anything happened, just take another hat, wear another hat. So there's only so much time
oh,
in
by
our
wear
life.
another hat, you mean do something else, take on
Yes,
another project.
caregiving, raise child. I mean, I
Uh-huh,
know there is a lot of modern men and
mhm,
women or
mhm.
any other sex gender readily able to step in. But you and I are similar age. We don't want to expose our age to our audience.
Yes,
So when we grow up, isn't that what is expected of us?
yeah,
It's
that
like
we are supposed to be caretakers.
when
Yeah,
I first got married, it's still crazy because my mom also is the first graduate from high school. Big thing for her.
mhm,
Earn her nursing degree. She has a nursing job that is really secure. Guess what
mhm,
she did? Every day she come home, she go to the market and buy food. She cooks.
uh-huh,
She cleans. She wash
yes,
dishes. She
yes.
mop the floor. She clean the kitchen, and now she can take a shower and go to bed.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
and this is what society I think that we are socialized to do that. We're not necessarily actively trained to take care of each other, but also I think a lot about the differences between the way men and women think. And it's not just men and women, but quite often you will have someone who is single focused and they think about one thing at a time. It's mostly men, but not always. And then you have the multi-focused people who are the ones who are going to notice that the dishes are dirty. They're going to notice that there's the cliche of the man who doesn't see the dirty sock on the floor and the woman who reaches over and picks it up. I think it's more a matter of what you're focusing on. And so what do you notice and what do you not notice?
Very good. I love
Where
the direction you're going.
where does this come to play with the women? Where does this show up with the women that you are working with?
Very good. Very good. Very good. So I think one thing I noticed, if a woman is an employee, a high
Mhm,
level employee, still this cross their mind. Am I readily able to accept that new opportunity with new pay?
mhm,
Or do I have the guts to go to the negotiation table with my boss or my direct report to say that I'm working more and
mhm,
my pay is not equal to employee X.
mhm,
Show me what I can do. Tell me my blind spot
mhm.
or be fair to me.
Good. Very good. Yes. Do you help women with this kind of negotiation?
I don't have a license or degree. Yesterday, it was a very happy day, as you know. I received an award, Women of
Uh-huh.
Influence. So when we regroup in the evening, we have a bunch of women, talking, right? Everybody is
Mhm,
talking. And somebody said, Alice, you're a coach. I said, no, not a coach. I don't have a certification. I don't have a license. But she said, the conversation we had, I've already thought you were a coach because
yeah.
you have encouraged me. This is not an employee, but a business owner
Mhm.
to ask for the fair payment when I write a proposal. You
Yes.
don't need to be 80% of the market to win the business.
Mhm, mhm.
Actually, I think people associate the higher the price, the better value I receive.
Yes, exactly. If you price yourself too low, you won't be taken seriously.
Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
that's the point I was trying to make to her in the last conversation about 3, 4 months ago. She reminded me. I mean, you talk to so many people, I can't
Yeah.
help correcting them,
Yeah.
especially what I call the mindset. If
Mhm,
you have a mindset that you're smaller, if you have a
mhm.
mindset that you are in scarcity,
Yes.
everything you do, everything you say is going that direction. And no wonder you cannot have a that breakthrough. So one of the points that in the $1 million conversation with women is help them to do that ask.
Help them to do that ask.
And if they can ask,
Yes.
or the delta, right? The delta, if I can only save another $500 more by scrapping everything. But
Yeah.
what if I really can be paid more
Uh-huh.
based on my ability or based on my business acumen that I can
Mhm.
do for you?
Yes.
Different, different.
Yes. That's different. Yes, exactly. And
And you can save way more, right? We're
mhm.
talking about tens of $1,000s.
Yes, exactly. Well, and there is a cultural expectation that men are hired on potential and women are hired on past performance, which is an innate cultural bias. Women don't, that if you're aware of it, then you can talk about yourself as the potential. Here's what we could do. Here's what I can do. Here's what I'm able to produce. In terms of the potential, you kind of have to remind people that this is what you're capable of, because the innate bias is to only look at what women have already done instead of the potential. It's one of centuries of history have set us up for that. Alice, what do you tell us more about the work you do with the Women's $1 Million Conversations? This is a group that meets regularly, correct?
Um, No, this is by interview, so allow me. I have two groups. I think I've confused you when we
You
first
did.
met. So,
Yes.
so let's start over. So, Women's Million Dollar Conversation is an interview-based project. So,
Mm-hmm.
I would interview women who has earned, made, or saved $1 million.
Okay.
So the goal is to create as many role models because not everybody can relate to Elizabeth or Alice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can relate to a younger person, a color person, or somebody who is in the very geek field, or
Mm-hmm.
all these. So I want to have as many variety of
Mm-hmm.
people, of women who either made, earned, or saved $1 million.
Good.
They would become, answering the 12 questions, the role model for
Mm-hmm.
the audience, whoever you can relate to. Because remember, there are 90% there. We talk about the
Yes.
10% at the beginning. So when the 90% see somebody who look like them can do it, guess what? First, we have hope.
Yes. Yes.
Second, with the questions, you know that everybody hit a block. When you hit a block, how do they bounce back and choose to push forward instead
Mm-hmm.
of, oh my God, I have to stop here?
Yeah.
No, you just keep going. Somebody have done it,
Mm-hmm.
and so can you.
Ah, okay. So that is a whole interview series, and it is indeed on your website. So I saw that,
AskAliceTang.com. Yes.
askalistang.com. Then the other group of women, how do you help them?
It's called, the other group of women is called Leaders Executive Across Professions. So
Mm-hmm.
we shorten it called LEAP,
Yeah.
LEAP.
Mm-hmm.
So that group, the criteria to be in that group is someone who has at least 10 years of experience in their current field.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a very successful author and out of the blue, you become an attorney, and this is
Uh-huh.
your year 3, you're not a prospective member.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to create is really a woman locker room for women who is at the peak of climbing to the peak. They
Mm-hmm.
could be business owner, they could be a key executive, and usually in that position, whether it's man or woman, it's a little lonely, especially for women.
Mm-hmm.
Men, we always talk about their lockers room. They
Yes.
have a lot to share, a lot to talk about when they
In the
walk
locker
out.
room. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
they might have a new insight, a new lead if they have a product and service to sell, or a new direction. Somebody have done
Mm-hmm.
something they share. We want to create a women's locker room. We want to walk in there, chat about all the things that can help us grow personally and most likely professionally.
I love it. And what are the challenges that you see?
The challenges is no different from what you have seen, Elizabeth. Is really authentic leadership we just talked about yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How can you be yourself?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be authentic, but have EQ. You don't do too much sharing.
Okay. So
Intelligence.
emotional intelligence, not too much sharing. Okay. Good.
Exactly. And then the happy habits, right? If you want to make a change,
Mm-hmm.
know that there is a big transition in the middle, whatever
Mm-hmm.
change that is. I want to slow down. I want to speed up. I want to change career. I want to change company.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do all these. The change is good, but the transition scare people.
Ah.
So some of the things we talk about could be that. How about public speaking skills?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Indeed.
important because you just talk
Very
about
important. Yeah.
paint a picture of the future. Don't tell about your history. So how can we take everybody's vision to see that future?
Mm-hmm.
The
I
future
love it.
about me, the future about this group, the future of the community.
I love it. I love it. It's so very interesting. A great approach to recognizing the challenge that uh, the challenges that come with making a change and getting support to get through it is so very important. Uh, and um, and then talking about various skills. Alice, this has been wonderful. All the various things that you've talked about. If you have one piece of advice for our audience, what would that be?
Surround yourself with people, woman or man or any gender, who firmly believe in you. Again, we don't go through life without challenges or alone. You need those people in the good time to cheer for you. You also need them more when at a time when you say, I'm just second guessing myself. Those people who know you well will tell you, go do that, Alice. I see that in you. I see that in you. Just keep moving.
Yes. Hopefully the people who
faith.
believe in you will also believe in you enough to give you a little kick, to kick you if you're not being if you're not moving forward, if you're allowing yourself to be stuck.
Yes, yes. I guess the most beautiful quality today, if you think comparatively women are slightly less strong, let's say, the vulnerability actually helps. People love to help people need help. So when you walk by somebody's office, how's your day? A man will say, great, business is good. I don't need to help you. But if I tell you, I am missing 3 cases to close this year strong. I'm slightly struggling, Elizabeth. Then you come to me and say, how can I help?
Yes.
How can I help? So vulnerability actually is core. It's a
Once you've
very good
established the
quality.
trust. Yes.
Exactly.
You have to establish the trust first. Yeah.
Agreed.
Alice Tang, this has been such an interesting conversation. Thank you for being a guest. And I'm definitely surround yourself with people who believe in you. That's going to be the quotable quote for sure. Thank you, Alice Tang, for being a guest on Speakers Who Get Results.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for the opportunity to be here. Want to find more about me? Ask alicetang.com, and you can also be a guest. Just feel
I
good
will
and
put
be a
all
role
these
model.
links. All these links will be in the show notes so that you can find out all about Alice Tang and the wonderful work that she does. This has been Speakers Who Get Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a good review on Apple Podcasts. That's the one that really matters. Follow us on YouTube and subscribe. Tell your friends. We have lots and lots of really good, interesting, fascinating guests. I would love to share them with you. This has been Speakers Who Get Results. I'll see you on the next one.
We have just concluded another great episode of Speakers Who Get Results with your host, Elizabeth Bachman. If you got value from today's episode, please feel free to share us with your friends and colleagues. You may also visit elizabethbachman.com for additional resources. Be sure to tune in every week for new episodes, and thanks for tuning in.